Hi, welcome back, viewers. Hey, today at another episode of Dad's Garage, we are going to be working on a 1967 Chevelle Malibu LS 4-door. It's got a small block 283 with a 2-speed power glide transmission. And today we're going to be putting in a radiator. We're going to be changing out the one that's leaking. We're going with a little bigger one. This particular vehicle is missing the fan shroud. We noticed that during the summertime it was getting a little warm, so we're going to put a little bigger radiator in it for future expansions. And so I'm going to bring you along with me. But first, let me walk you around this car and show you what it looks like. Chevelle Malibu, the 283, 2-speed power glide, rally wheels, 4-door. So really good shape. Sounds good. We'll get this rolled up into the shop and we'll start working on the radiator. So we're back in here. We've got in the shop, we got our hoist underneath it. We're going to go ahead and get the radiator draining right now because we need to do some work on the replacement radiator. And as you can see, the lid has been cramped down here and it is leaking right in over in this area here. So we are going to go ahead and just get this replaced. Also, this fan that's down here is, I don't know how to say it, not right. It doesn't work. We're going to look at it and keep it. We might have another use for it down the road. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing up in the air. And we're going to get a bucket underneath it. And we're going to get the fluid draining on it. And then we're going to go over to the workbench. And we're going to start assembling some pieces on the radiator. We got a shroud we need to put on. Another electric fan that fits better. Just in case we're stuck in traffic. Or the customer's in traffic and it's a little warm. The fuel injection system that I showed you before during the walk around, it'll actually activate that fan and we'll have it set up. And that's probably high enough. Let's get your camera put back here and we'll get a pan underneath here and get this draining. I bet you that drain doesn't undo. We'll get this shuttlecock open here with a pair of pliers. Petcock, I should say. Shuttlecock, what are we playing, badminton? Good gravy. See if we can just break this loose. A pair of pliers. And it looks like it's going to cooperate with us. Get that going so it doesn't splatter all over the place. And we'll just let that do its thing. And we'll come on over here to the workbench and show you what we're looking at. This is the radiator that we're putting in. It's actually a 4-core aluminum, probably an Amazon special. But it'll work for this little car, not a hot rod, just a cruiser, likes to go to car shows. And so forth. We're going to put in this fan. Here's a shroud we got. That monster would be my breakfast. And we're going to go ahead and I got some rivet nuts, I guess is what you call these. We're going to, I've tapped a little bit where I want the shroud to go already. We're going to drill those out and we're going to put those in and then we're going to get the shroud mounted up. And then we'll get the fan put on. So let me set you down and we're just going to go to work. So I'm going to drill out one of the holes, make sure that we've got the right size going on here. Take your time. This is what we're putting in. We'll need to change this. All right, so I got the right bit put in here for this. If you're not familiar with the way these work, let me show you. So this looks like a normal, like a rivet gun. And these are little inserts that are threaded. So when you put this in the hole and you thread this on here, you put it in and as you pump this device, it expands this in and now gives you a place to put in a thread. it's a pretty cool device. I've just started using it a couple years ago, and so far I can't complain. It works really well. So this is where we're going to put it in, is right in there in the center. We're going to try that one first. You can take your drill, and if you have something just to chamfer that hole a little bit, it's not going to hurt it. Just don't go down too far. It just cleans it up a bit, and you can also do it on the back side of it. So when you get this going in there, it has a flush place to sit. Otherwise, it has a burr right there. I don't have a way to get in there with this. I guess I could take a little grinding wheel and do that, but we're going to try this first one out and put it in. So here I've got it in the hole. I'm going to go ahead and give it a squeeze. Went ahead and got this one put in. It's good to go, and that's what it'll look like, so it'll thread in there nice and tight. And we'll just move forward and get these other ones done. It's just holding on a plastic shroud. It's not holding anything really huge on this. And this here, we'll just bend this back in, and once I get it crimped in there, it'll be fine. And we'll vacuum off the radiator and get all these little shards that are in there out of there, so it won't be a huge deal. All right, got those in there. Just gonna do a little quick cleanup here and get out the shop vac. I've got a little one on the wall, and we'll get the shroud on here, and we'll get it fastened down on here. All right, we just took the shop vac and went ahead and got all the little aluminum cleaned up, get the drills, this stuff here out of the way, just so it's not. I will have to drill out the plastic shroud just a little bit. I initially lined it up using self-tappers, and that way I kind of knew where it was at. I could have probably just got away with using the self-tappers in there, but after a while, if you have to remove and install, eventually it's just going to wear those out, and we'll be back doing this anyways. So I just thought it'd be better we'll just go do it now. And this is what we're looking at. So looks like the fasteners that we put in looks like they're pretty good in the right spot. So I'm just going to take this here, drill it out just a bit, enough to get the screw through there. Move to the other side. Got all that done. Line it up and see how we did on our holes. Looks pretty good there. This shroud is not a perfect fit for this application, and that's kind of the problem. Sometimes when you're doing custom stuff is you got to do a little modification. So I'm using these little bolts, little star washers, just to keep the bolt from backing out. It's a lot easier to get this put on beforehand to make sure everything is happy. I just picked this up from my local hardware store. They charge by the pound, $2.99 a pound for fasteners. So it's kind of nice. Normally once or twice a year, I head up there and I just replenish my nut and bolt bin, 50 bucks. And I get a pretty good stock, but it's impossible to stock everything unless you have one of those nut and bolt suppliers that are going to come out and do stuff for you. Let me get a little socket for that. It looks like a 10 millimeter, maybe an 8. That's what I thought. You don't need to send these home when you tighten them. Just want to get them tight and have that little washer just dig into the plastic a little bit. And there we have it. So this is now ready for that side, and we're going to mount this fan on here. I know I'll probably regret doing it outside here instead of waiting for it to be in the car, but no one's ever accused me of doing things traditionally. I'll turn this over like so, and I'm going to take a quick look in the car to see where the wire is for this one that's on here. Looks like it's going up to the top. So it looks like my wiring for this goes up towards the top, and we're going to do something along the lines of just center it in the middle as best we can, whichever way works. Now, don't get too carried away when you do this, because there's some little pads that you need to install on here. And again, I don't anticipate this fan need to be being used very often, because we're going to have a shroud and a direct drive. So I think it's going to be just in case type of a scenario. But I'd rather than need it and not have it. So I'll pop this back off, and there's these little foam tabs. And we're gonna put them on where the feet are. Try to center it as best you can. So when this will be up against the radiator surface, and we don't have to worry about any damage that it can be caused. Sometimes these little plastic tabs have little burrs on them, and you'll need to take a little sandpaper to them and just clean them off. So I'm just trying to center holes the best I can in here. And I'm gonna put this on. And I'm just gonna center so the wiring on this is just right dead smack straight with the radiator. Actually, I think that's wrong. I'm gonna grab a tape measure, and I had a little combination square here. I'm just gonna grab this, and I'm just gonna measure to make sure it's even on the top. So this is where I want it on this side, and I'm not there on this side, so we're gonna carefully move this up, and that's where it's gonna live. I may have to adjust a little bit to get the little ties through here, and we'll look at that here in a minute. So this kit has these little springs. So this provides tension so we don't over tighten. It also makes it easier if you ever have to remove it to be able to squeeze it in. So we're just gonna find our center, push it through, find the center, push it through, drop that on the floor, meant to do that. We'll go the other side, push it through. And this is where if you have somebody to help you, it's kind of nice. Because to be honest with you, you got to flip that over and try to keep that all in at one point. I was looking for some masking tape. Yep, nothing. So we'll just do the best we can. Tilt this up a little bit here to keep the fan from falling off. And you can see how these stick through the radiator, right through here. Then I'm gonna start here at the top. Just push this on. Like so. And for right now, I'm just giving it just to make it a little taut. Mainly just to keep it from falling off. And then we'll give it a little tension on that spring and make sure that we have a little bit, but we don't need a lot. Just enough to compress it a little bit. We have that. And go back here, and I'm going to give it a little push, little push, little push, and a little push. And then once I'm happy with how I have it, I'm going to find some cutters. And I'm going to cut these off, like so. And that's how we do it. And now we're ready to move over to the car and start disassembling, get that unit out here. I will just hit this with some compressed air just to make sure we got all the little aluminum pieces out, and go from there. So the fan will sit in here. I did some measurements. I ought to be really, really good. If not, I'll just oblong out these holes in the plastic a little bit just to give myself a little bit of adjustment, and we'll go from there. But that's the front, and you can see what it would look like from the front of the car, like so. Other than I wish it was all black. I think it would look better with the car, but at this point in time, it's not a restoration of a car. It's more important for the vehicle owner to it's more important for that the car stays nice and cool, and they like to drive it a little more in the summertime and not worry about it running hot or anything. So we'll move on over to the car next. I'm going to gather up some tools and see what we need and start plugging things off, and we'll move along in the process. All right, so we're under the car. We've got a hose clamp here, which I just loosened. I've got some transmission cooling lines that we need to break loose. Probably going to hit those with some WD-40, and I'm pretty much sure these aren't going to fit in the new radiator. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Let me get a little penetrating oil just to get that soaking a little bit on there. May even require a little heat, I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and pull off this bottom hose and finish draining out whatever's left in there. And let me get see if I can work this around. We're trying to reuse this hose to save a little money. It's not too terribly old. It doesn't look like it, but I just put a little more air in there. So we'll see how this is gonna go. I'm sure I'm gonna get an antifreeze bath, which is fine. Oh, well, I like that. And I'm hoping that the inlet and outlet of the radiator is actually the right size also. But again, we're doing hot rod stuff here, so it could be, we'll just be malleable and try to, if we have to do things on the fly, we'll just do things on the fly. I'm gonna grab my line wrench. Oh, those are 1/2 inch, yep, 1/2 inch. You just break them free. I'm just gonna work it. I don't wanna twist it off the line here. So we're just gonna work it a little bit. Got some of that penetrating oil in there. Don't want to twist the line. That one seems to be cooperating with us. Let me move you out of the way here. That's not a sound you want to hear. So I always want to spray a little penetrating oil on those. Sometimes they could be little stinkers in there, and then you gotta, next thing you're rebuilding your lines, and that's not really something that we like to do today. And I'm just gonna put my oil drain pan on this side. I just want to take as much off from the bottom as I can get to. And then we'll move up to the top and fight with that. So that's out. Just gonna see if I can get a little bit of this out of here. And I'm gonna put a rubber glove on it and put some tape around it. Never a used rubber glove when you need one. So I'm gonna sacrifice a new one. And we'll keep the old part of it for another day. So just gonna take a finger off the glove. We're gonna just put it on this, and then I'll run a zip tie around it here, and that'll keep it from raining on us. At least prevent it a little bit. It still might drip somewhat, but we don't want any, we don't want it gushing out if it decides it wants to do that. The car has been sitting on for a while, and we'll just move over to the other side here. Try to get you in here as best we can. Try not to have that drip in the antifreeze. They don't like that at the recycling center when you got oil in with your antifreeze. If that drained the line enough. Stick this over it. Well, fine. We'll just do it like that then. What was going on with this? My hands are slippery. There we go. I'll just give it a little twist upwards a little bit there. There we go. Out of the way. So, I think we're done as much as we can down here. And we're just gonna move the antifreeze on the ground. Gonna minimize the drippage. And we'll just go back. We're gonna just go back up top, lower the car down, and we'll hook this other stuff up from the top. So hang on one sec. All right, so here's where we're at. Hopefully you can see that, of where we're gonna be working. So we really just need to take off this top radiator hose. And we're actually removing this piece as well, because the new radiator we have is thicker and we have a shroud, so we don't need this. When this is removed, I'm feeling it because the other radiator is quite a bit bigger. It almost goes all the way out to here. With the shroud, it's a little wider, so it's actually going to go in. So we're just going to do some experimenting and see if that is correct, and then we'll just go from there. That wasn't even on the ground. What? We'll fix that too. So it looks like I got a couple of 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts to get out. I got the electrical for the fan right here, and it looks like I can just disconnect that. And it should be okay not to spark. I've got a ground wire here I got to get rid of. And we're just going to do what we can to get after it. They all look like 1/2 inch, 7/16 The GM product, those few sizes, you can pretty much tear apart anything, which is really nice. 1/2 inch, pull that ground wire off, put the bolt back in the hole just so we don't lose track of it. So it looks like those will loosen up pretty good. This down here is gonna suck. I might just pull this battery out to get it out of my way. The light in there, that'll be all kinds of fun there. I might just take the battery out. Doesn't look like it's too difficult. I'm just gonna do that, I think, first, and then we'll go from there. I'm gonna get a zip tie these all together so I don't lose track of them. We like our zip ties here. Those are out of the way. I wasn't planning to take that all the way out, but it's actually a pretty good Jake hook. For some reason, this is a marine battery in here. We did, yep, that's the way it goes. We did switch this unit over to an externally regulated single wire when we put the Phytech fuel injection system in it. And we had to do that because the electric fuel pump, but I'm gonna take this off and we might just replace that while we're in here, just because we can. And my other J-hook went places. I'll have to find that out. I'm sure it's in that antifreeze bucket because that's, no, it's not. That's perfect. Normally it just falls in there and we never know what happens to it. So that's good, I like that. So we took that out just so I could get to this other bolt a little easier. And I'm sure it's gonna fight me all the way, and that's fine. That's wrenching, that's a part of life on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this top radiator hose out of here. We did replace this one when the fuel injection Phytech system went on there. So I can break that loose. Looks like my rubber glove is leaking just a little bit down there, so I'm gonna put a bucket underneath there. Let's get that out of our way. Actually, I'll just put one of these big mats on here underneath there and that'll be good enough. Looks like the other one is holding just fine, but this one is not happy. All right, so I guess let's just get after it and see what we can get into. Maybe while we're doing these other side here, we'll just soak these. I can't get to those. Looks like this other one is in this channel down here. There it is right there. Perfect. Put a little lubricant on that while we're trying to get this figured out. 1, 2, we'll get in the little ratchet. We'll get the little guy in there. Let's see. Well, where did you go? There it is. See if we can get this little guy in there. Oh, she's tight. Well, this is just the bottom one that I'm just trying to get to. And that one is loose. I'm gonna put a bolt back in the top hole just to keep this from falling out the bottom. When we take this other one off, this other one is going to be not fun. The battery tray's in the way. I'm afraid to take it off all the way because I don't want it to break. I don't want to be breaking bolts out of here, but there could be a possibility that that's gonna have to happen or get to it from underneath. Oh. All right, so let's see. All right, so I'm gonna take a minute and get this battery box, this tray out of the way, and then we'll continue. Okay, so we got the battery tray off. Here it is over here. No, I'm stuck, sorry. Let me get you over here. So, this is why we had to remove the battery tray. So the battery tray sat right there. We are after this bolt that's down here. And that's what we're after to get this out. So, you know, and I don't even want to tell you what I saw when I removed that battery tray. It was the hardware that was in there. Awesome. Which we'll have to fix. So let's continue to press on. Let's get my little ratchet out here. Get a little light on the subject down here. And see if we can get this off. Oh! We'll definitely wire wheel these up. These bolts just to I think while I'm in here, I'll hit the battery box with a little cleaner. So I'm hoping we get this out and everything will just release. But I'm not too concerned if it goes into this fan down here. It's, you know, it's done. This radiator's done. So let's get this. Well, I get this out of here, and it may take off 25 pounds. Let's see. I mean, this fan, I mean, good grief. Let me show you this. So, this is how not to install this fan. I don't even know. Help me understand. What? I just, you know, we're just going to put that over there. But let's see, where do I want to make a mess at? Okay. Well, we got that out of the way. Well, it's fun. Let's move you over to this side. So now you can see we took that the radiator was like doubled up, so it had a extra thick bracket on it, and I'm hoping to slide that one down in, and it'll clear the fan and do everything that we need to do. This is the power wire for the other fan, so we'll get that moving on here. And here's the relay for it, so we have a relay where it needs to be, so at least that was done correctly. And we'll just kind of go from there. I'm going to hit this over here where the battery box was with just a wire wheel and clean it up a little bit. I think I might have some black paint that can just kind of touch it up and put the battery tray back on there. Then I don't have to worry about, you know, anything else in there. And apparently we're still dripping down here. So, you know, that's fine. Normally I get a shop vac and I just put it on that line and I just suck that out, but we'll poke this back up in here and we'll wire tie all this in there so it's good to go. It's out of the way. Because, you know, we want to get some points when we do car shows. You know, that's a deduction right there. So I'm going to go get the other radiator and see if we can sneak it in here without causing any damage. I'm going to get a piece of cardboard, I think, and just shove it in the opening. Something I can just kind of pull out just to give it a little bit of extra protection when we slide that in here. So if it goes well, you'll see it. If it doesn't, we may just not show that. No, we'll show it. We'll show it.